In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the zombie is described as undead rotting humanoids that move with a jerky, uneven gait, wearing the moldy remains of whatever clothing they were buried in. The zombie has an AC of 8 and 22 hit points, with a walking speed of only 20 feet. They have pretty bad stats, but are immune to being poisoned or damaged with poison. They have the trait Undead Fortitude, which allows them to attempt to get back up when they're dropped to 0 HP. If they succeed on a Constitution save of DC 5 plus the damage they were taken when killed, they get back up with 1 HP. The zombie makes one attack in combat, a slam that deals 2 to 7 damage. As a DM, I would use the zombies in lower level encounters as minions of a larger creature or a necromancer, as they're not terribly hard to take down on their own. With a sub 10 AC, they'll drop pretty quickly, but with their fortitude trait and a spellcaster leading them, they can prove a nuisance, especially at lower levels. Here's a fun idea for a low level one-shot, particularly around Halloween. Have your players trapped in a graveyard, a town, or so on, facing an unending horde of zombies. That's it. Super simple, right? The beauty with the D&D zombie is that much like those depicted in most media, the single zombie is a breeze to defeat. But when they're in a massive group, even as slow as they are, they can quickly become overwhelming. Most people associate zombies with George Romero, which makes sense due to his Night of the Living Dead being the movie that brought the concept as we know it to the minds of the masses. But he got the original idea from undead slaves in a 1932 movie called White Zombie. And just as a content warning, the myth on this one is pretty dark and involves some pretty horrific human suffering. The origin of the word and the overall concept of zombification first appeared in Haiti in the 17th or 18th century, when the country was still called Saint Dominique and was under the direct control of France, who used this area as a slave colony to force African slaves to work on sugar plantations. The French were particularly brutal towards these slaves, and an estimated half of them brought in from Africa were found dead within the first few years, which of course led the French to capturing and enslaving more people to be worked to death in monstrous conditions. Based partially in the beliefs of Santeria, Palomayumbe, and Yoruba more generally, the concept of a zombie in early Haitian belief was based around one being enslaved within their own flesh. Many of the slaves brutalized in Haiti believed that death would bring their spirits back to Africa, but that suicide would instead leave their spirits trapped within their own bodies to be used as undead slaves for all eternity. After the Haitian Revolution in 1804, the zombie myth was transformed in Haitian folklore, merging with voodoo religion, with many believing that a zombie was the corpse of a human made to rise again by a voodoo priest. These sorcerers, called Bokor, acted as a sort of analog for Haiti's former slavers, a powerful religious figure perverting the powers of God and spirits to control the bodies and minds of others. The zombie myth we have today is a more Americanized, watered-down version of the Haiti zombie, which was meant to be a representation of the horrors of slavery, and a reminder of what awaited people should the trade be allowed to resume. In comparing the monster to the myth, we find that the zombie in form is similar in both D&D and the Haitian legend. However, the D&D version takes more after the Romero commercialized zombie than the representation of Haiti's roots in slavery and revolution. If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like and comment below, and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also join the Patreon for $1 a month to access videos days before they're posted here, as well as other exclusive stuff like short stories, videos, and more.